Hi everybody, welcome back to Chrysalis Books. My name is Jessica and I write two blogs actually. I write ladylovestead.com as well as the Right Reader, my book review blog. I also manage the Lovestead, which is my urban homestead, and I love being here at Booktube. The topic of today's video is my October TBR, or for those of you who are new to Booktube, TBR stands for To Be Read. So go ahead and grab a cup of coffee and let's get started. I first want to preface this by saying that Booktube has been such a wonderful experience so far. I am meeting so many new people and interacting with so many other readers and people who just love books, and it's been fantastic. So thank you for being a part of this with me. Thank you for interacting with me. I am having such a great time. So for October, let me just say that a week ago, a little under a week ago, I threw out my back pretty badly. And if you follow my main channel, or I guess we can't call it my main channel, but if you follow my other channel, which is Lady Lovestead, I document there basically how I manage my urban homestead. I talk about topics like femininity and homemaking, gardening, pets, all kinds of different things, basically just sharing my life with you. And if you have watched any of those videos, you know that I have so much going on right now that requires a certain level of physicality, from my fall garden to getting my home ready for a reappraisal process, to refinance, to taking care of my pets. And so having my back thrown out and being on limited movement orders from my doctor for 3 weeks is like torture. And I know it's like other people have situations that are so much worse, but I am such a busybody, like a busybody. I like to be doing things with every moment of my day. And so because I'm going to be on limited movement, I have a hunch that I'm going to be able to get a lot more reading done in the next 3 weeks. So my October to be read pile is pretty large because I don't read super fast. I just make sure to prioritize my time so that I am able to read. But I do think I'll have a little bit more time this month to read because of this injury. So I'm going to start with nonfiction and we'll go from there. Okay, let me arrange them. So for nonfiction, first is The Upside of Stress by Kelly McGonigal. Kelly McGonigal has, there's her name. She has a TED Talk that was so interesting to me. It's about how stress is in itself not a bad thing. What makes stress bad is how we think about stress. And there's been some research that has come out that shows it isn't necessarily stress that makes us sick, but it is us perceiving stress as negative that makes us sick. And it was such a fascinating TED Talk. For those of you who don't know, I do have a master's degree in psychology, research psychology. I'm not a counselor. Please don't send me your mental health questions. But as a research psychologist, this is so fascinating to me, and as someone who has a million things going on all the time and who deals with a lot of stress, thinking about how I can shift my perception of stress to be something that's beneficial is right up my alley. So this book, I'm probably going to do a feature review of it where I review this book alone because it just sounds so interesting to me, and I will leave her TED Talk, a link to her TED Talk, in the description box down below. I'm at like piles all over. I'm trying to figure out what to put where. Okay, next for nonfiction is Scottish Ghosts. Because it's October, it's spooky season. I gotta do at least one spooky book, right? And this is a book that I found for a quarter, 25 cents at a local thrift store, or it might have been at my library's bookstore. So my library has a bookstore where they sell really deeply discounted books and things that they withdraw from the library and that kind of thing, and then all of that funding goes to library programming. So I absolutely love shopping at that little bookstore. I think I found this there for $0.25. And it's basically just about Scotland folklore, specifically looking at Scottish ghosts, which I thought was really interesting. My background is Irish and Slovakian primarily. When I did my Ancestry.com charting, I haven't taken a DNA test or anything like that, but just based on tracking my genealogy, I am primarily Irish with a little bit of Slovakian and a tiny bit of French and a tiny bit of German. And so I find things about the British Isles really interesting because I feel like I can connect to it with that being part of my heritage. So Scottish Ghosts, we'll see how it is. I've heard absolutely no one talk about this book ever. So yeah, it'll be an interesting read. The author is Lily Seafield. All right, and then the last nonfiction is Cheer Up Love, Adventures in Depression with the Crab of Hate by Susan Kalman. And this is more of a memoir style book, not so much like research and psychology, but I really enjoy memoir. And excuse me, I really enjoy memoir, and a friend of mine actually mailed this to me because she really liked it and she thought that I would probably like it as well. It's been sitting on my bookshelf for like a year, and so finally going to read this one. Yeah, big thank you to Tiffany for mailing me this book. I'm sorry it's taken me so long to read it. Okay, that'll do it for nonfiction. Oh no, it won't. Sorry, I lied. So I have 2 other works of nonfiction that I don't like to put on a TBR because I'm kind of just reading them at my leisure, and I don't have a hard and fast due date that I want to have them done. And if you follow me on Instagram or if you follow my other channel, you've seen these books there, but it's 50 Great Curries of India. This is a cookbook by Camellia Punjabi, and she has some really good information in here about sort of the history of Indian cuisine and about Indian cuisine across different regions and what the different spices mean and Ayurveda, and it's a really good read. And I read a little bit of it here and there, and I've already cooked one recipe from it. I'll show you which one I did. It turned out fan-freaking-tastic. It's this fish cooked in yogurt. So I made this and I followed her instructions exactly, and it was so good. So I'm just kind of reading this at my leisure, no hard and fast due date. You're probably going to see it in like every TBR video through the end of the year. Same goes for this book, On Royalty by Jeremy Paxman. I've been reading this since I think June, and I love royalty and royal history. I find it really fascinating and interesting, and this book is good-ish. The reason it's taking me so long is because, like, I really like the information in it. I really like the stories in it, but his writing style is just not engaging, and it feels like slogging through, you know? It feels almost like just a step above a textbook. And so I only read this when I have the mental capacity for it, basically. But I can't say that I'm not enjoying it. Like, I am enjoying learning the information, and some of the stories are really interesting, and from time to time he's really funny. But overall, I'm just not feeling super engaged with it. I do want to finish it, but I'm not going to push myself to finish it in a month. This is another one that you'll probably see in every TBR video for who knows how long. So, okay, now that is all the nonfiction, I promise. For fiction, you all know that I'm doing a series where I have 3 book series that I read, and I cover 1 book in each series once a month. So the series that I'm reading right now are the Mercy Thompson series by Patricia Briggs, the Rizzoli and Isles series by Tess Gerritsen, and then the Twilight series in preparation for reading Midnight Sun. So for those, I'm a little ahead of schedule with the Tess Gerritsen novels, so I don't have one of those this month, but for the Patricia Briggs Mercy Thompson, we have book 3, which is Iron Kissed, and in this book, Mercy, I'll just read you the back of it. So, mechanic Mercy Thompson can shift her shape but not her loyalty when her former boss and mentor is arrested for murder and left to rot behind bars by his own kind. Her former boss is Z, the fairy, or the gremlin, I think he calls himself. It's up to Mercy to clear his name whether he wants her to or not. Mercy's loyalty is under pressure from other directions too. Werewolves are not known for their patience. And if Mercy can't decide between the two she cares for, Sam and Adam may make the choice for her. So Sam and Adam were introduced in book 1 with the first series review that I did. I'll link it to you up here. And they've got this love triangle going on with Mercy. So that's what this one looks like. It looks like it's going to involve more of the Fae, and that'll be fun to read. And then for the Twilight series, I'm on the 3rd one there, which is Eclipse. Everybody knows what Twilight is about. Eclipse is the one where Victoria is chasing after Bella, and so the werewolves and the vampires team up to protect Bella and her father and to kill Victoria. So, y'all know that one already. Next on the TBR for fiction is Geoffrey Chaucer's The Canterbury Tales. I do have a master's degree in English, but I'm actually not super well read in the classics because my main focus area was in multicultural and LGBTQ literature. So I've not read all of the Canterbury Tales. I've read some here and there, but I have not read the entire work. So it is time that I do that. I think I mentioned this in my, oh, it might not be a video you've seen yet. It's in my fall book haul. That one's coming up. And then for fiction, we have A Lady of Persuasion by Tessa Dare. This book was gifted to me as well by a Booktube friend, I guess a Bookstagram friend. Her name is, I just completely blanked, but I'll link you to her page down below. Archer Pren, there it is. So Archer Pren Reads is the Instagram account. She mailed this to me to read because I'm not super well versed in historical romance or even historical fiction, really. She likes Tessa Dare quite a bit, and I've heard a lot of good things about Tessa Dare. I'm not a romance snob. Like, I'm not one of those people who's like, I don't like to read romance. Like, that's not it. Like, I think romance is great, and if you like romance, that's awesome. It's just hard for me to find romance that I resonate with. So she sent me this to see if I like it, and I'm gonna go ahead and read it. This was another book that she sent this to me in like November of 2019, and just now getting to it, sorry, but thank you. I'm finally gonna read it. And that is it for fiction. Now I have 3 books that I'm reading here at the end of September that if I don't end up finishing before October, they'll bleed into October. The first one is Into the Water by Paula Hawkins. It's the same writer who wrote The Girl on the Train. And I am on page 190 of this. I think there's a good chance that I'll finish it before October, but just in case. And then I'm reading a romance on my Kindle. Oh, okay. Let me just pull it up here. I don't know if you can see it, but it's called Breakfast at the Honey Creek Cafe by Jodie Thomas. The description of this looked really interesting. So it's about this mayor whose fake fiance, like they were engaged in the press but not engaged in real life. It was a PR thing. Her fake fiance ends up missing, as well as the town sheriff. So this investigator comes in undercover to try to figure out what's going on, and then there's like a love triangle in it as well. I've read the first couple of chapters, and so far I'm enjoying it. It feels to me like reading reading this book feels like watching a Hallmark movie, and that makes me happy. Like, Hallmark movies are like these nice safe spaces, and so far this book has been like that as well. And then I'm reading this nonfiction book that I'm positive that I'll get through before October, but just in case, it is Goldfish by Paul Paradise. If you watch my other channel, you know I am obsessed with fancy goldfish, and I have a lot of goldfish in my fish room in the basement of my house. So anytime I can get my hands on a book about goldfish, I buy it and read it. This book is even super old. It's not super old, but it was published in 1988. So some of the information might be outdated, but like anything I can find on goldfish, I just kind of gobble it up. I'm pretty sure I'll finish this before October, but just in case, I wanted to throw it out there. So those 3 books might bleed into October, and that wraps it up. That is my October to be read pile. I'm really looking forward to seeing what all of you are reading this week. If you've read any of these books, let me know down below what you thought of them. No spoilers. And until next time, make sure to continue to read